All right, welcome. Welcome to Big Purpose Mastermind. Super excited to have you here. Super excited for who we have here today. We've got Meg Johnson. So again, if you have been tuning in this week, we've been using Meg Johnson as a fantastic case study on how to show up and live your full purpose. And we've been looking at some of her videos, some of the things that she's done. Fantastic stuff we've learned, right? By the way, if you've missed any of those episodes, and I'll remind you of this at the end, but just go to schoolofhumanity.tv and you'll be able to see all of those episodes. You'll be able to catch the earlier ones. And we reference some really great stuff there. So you're definitely going to want to do that. But I'm going to turn that off right there so you can see Meg and so that we actually get to meet her. Thank you so much for joining us, Meg. So glad to have you on today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. So what this is it's an online mastermind. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that feel that they have a mission, a calling, a big purpose to do. And a lot of times they feel like that's bigger than they can actually do themselves. And they're not sure how to accomplish it. And so with this mastermind, online mastermind, we're looking at some of the people that I call masters of influence. And I honor you for what you have done and what you are doing as a master of influence. So this week we've been looking at a lot of things that you've done, and now we actually get to meet you today. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, I'm so happy to do this. Yes, I agree that many people have, big missions, or these missions. Sometimes a big mission to them is a mission that they actually don't want to do at all, or like might be a boring one. They're more interested in somebody else's. So I hear what you're saying, that, yeah, that's a really common issue people have.
Yeah. So I have a few questions of my own, and then some members of the mastermind have some questions as well that we're going to throw out, if that's cool. And the first question that I have for you is, do you feel you have a big purpose, a life's work to fulfill, and how would you articulate that?
Okay, do I feel like I have a big purpose? And yes, I do, and I don't. So, I would really, if I had my druthers, I would really like to own a club. I'd like to own a nightclub. That would be the be-all, end-all. Meg Johnson's purpose, a gift to humanity, is that's what I would do. Not like a bad one. We wouldn't have bad things there. We wouldn't serve bad stuff or anything. It would just be for dancing, and that's what I would do. If I could map out my own life and plan my own life and get everything that I wanted, that's what I'd have a nightclub. I'd teach people how to social dance and ballroom dance, and we'd have live bands, and it would be so amazing. And then heaven. In fact, I will tell you that I prayed, I think it was 2 days ago. I was like, Heavenly Father, when I die and I go to heaven, I own a nightclub. That's all I want to do. I'm sure they dance at nightclub heaven. And so anyway, but I think a lot of people are in my same boat. We don't get what it is that we want in this life because circumstances beyond our control put us in different places that we wouldn't prefer, and anyway, just things like that. And so I think that this is the number one issue that I've run across everywhere where I've spoken. I mean, all over, everywhere. The number one thing people say to me is, well, I feel like there's something for me to do. I feel like there's something big for me to do that's out there. And I'm like, yep, yes. And one of my messages that I share when I speak is how to discover what that is. And once we discover what that is, sometimes we're not happy with it because we want to own a nightclub, or we want to do something else, but we are perfectly created and formatted to accomplish a specific purpose and mission in this life. And the way I help people understand what that is you take your talents and your strengths and all of your desires. Those play an important, crucial factor in discovering our mission also. I've discovered all of the positive, great things about you that make you you, and then you combine those with your trials and your weaknesses and your flaws and the circumstances that are beyond your control that have created sometimes chaos and havoc in your life. Now, when I talk about those things, I'm not talking about trials that you can remove from your life. Like if you're having trials because you're a really disorganized person, like that just requires some classes and organization. Like I'm not saying your disorganization is going to help you with this. Like, no, if you can remove a trial from your life, remove that trial from your life. I'm talking about the circumstances and trials that you can't remove. Like for me, I'm in a wheelchair. That's one of them. Okay. Maybe for someone else, their parents got divorced. Actually, that is me too. And so it's those different circumstances and trials that are beyond your control as of now. It doesn't matter if we caused them in the past, like maybe we're a recovered alcoholic, or I should say recovering, because I know it's an ongoing process, or drug addict, which my mom, she hasn't smoked a cigarette in 40 years, but to this day in her 80s, when she smells cigarette smoke, she wants it. She wants to smoke it. And so, it's just because you have put a trial in your past and it still tempts you, that doesn't mean that trial is still a part of your life. It just means you're human. And so anyway, so you take your talents and your desires and your good things about you and your strengths, combine them with your weaknesses and your trials, put those together and find someone to serve. Once you can do that, you have discovered purpose in your life. Like for my mom, she's really, really into health, and she's really into health. And so it gives her a lot of joy and fulfills her purpose as the 81-year-old woman that she is, to help people understand themselves and to help them overcome addictions that they have. That's something that she does. She takes her talent, which is, things like she loves people, she loves health, she loves nutrition, she loves witch doctors, she loves herbalists, things like that, and all kinds of like a variety of things, and wants to serve people with that, but it's not as helpful, or it's not as useful, it's not as strong, I should say, without her own trial that she's overcome of complete chain smoking. She smoked 100 cigarettes per day back a day. That's just what she did. And so that's a really good example who's fulfilling their purpose in this life after they've gone through a really hard trial. For my own life, it's I'm in a wheelchair. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. This is not preferred. Like I would like to walk and dance and own a nightclub, but I'm in a wheelchair, and that's a trial that I have. A strength that I have is I'm a planner. I'm a party planner. I was a professional party planner before I was paralyzed, and so my party planning with the fact I'm in a wheelchair, I now run the Miss Wheelchair Utah princess pageant for little girls in wheelchairs. And we dance with the princesses and we get on stage, and we love it. I used to do a lot of stage stuff too, like acting and dancing and things like that on the stage. So anyway, that's just one of my personal examples. All of us have many, many missions that we can accomplish in this life when we take our strengths combined with our trials, put those together and find someone to serve. Sometimes our strengths are just time. And I don't mean to say just, because time is really hard to come by sometimes. It's very expensive. And so when we have that time and we have this trial or trials in our life, and we recognize those in other people, we take our time and find those people recognize, and we serve them with whatever we can, whatever we have. And lots of times we're not happy with that. We're not happy with, number one, we're not happy with our trials. We think that we can serve someone else. We can do what we can for them once those trials are gone. But that won't ever work. That won't ever work to be happy. It's so funny how completely in focus your life becomes when you take the focus off yourself and you put it on someone else. And when you do that, your life comes into focus. You recognize how important to this world you are, and not just you as a person, but all of your talents and strengths are now put to use, and all of your trials and weaknesses now have a purpose. So hopefully that answers your question. And anyone who listens to this, that they can find their purpose too, simply by doing these things.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, kind of a follow-up question to this. Like, I know I am so amazed by you, Meg. Thank you for being on this. Thank you for what you've done. So I know that you've got a speaking career, and I know that you put on events and all sorts of things, and you have a production company, I think is what you call it, Jumping Turtle Productions. And for
Jumping
those that don't
turtle, yeah.
know, Jumping Turtle. And for those that don't know, when Meg, when she had the accident, she was actually down at Turtle Rock, and she was jumping around there in Red Rock Country, and that's what caused this accident. She has taken that, what other people would see as a negative, and turned into a positive. Well, if you lost that, if you had to, if it kind of got burned down to the ground and you had to start over, what would you do? Knowing what you know now, having just kind of maybe limited resources, what would you do? And is that something that other people can emulate?
Okay, now I kind of missed the first part because my earphones cut out, but if my jumping turtle business burned down to the ground, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Like, you're still trying to live your purpose. You're still trying to focus on others. You're trying to build a business. But if you had to start over, would you use video? Would you, knowing what you know now, and you're doing amazing on social media, what tools, what would you do to kind of redo that?
Okay, yeah, good. That's a great question, because I think sometimes when we take our strengths and we combine them with our trials and find someone to serve, and we start to grow and serve other people, and our life seems to blossom, and then, like you say, that gets burned down to the ground, like it gets taken away for whatever reason, then we think, oh my gosh, I failed at this life. I had my purpose right in front of me. I had my hands on it, and it is in ashes. Well, I think the phoenix is a mythological creature, but a lot of stuff grows from those ashes that burn down. And ashes are maybe not as sturdy as, foundation, but they do raise you a little bit higher when you stand on them. And you can discover that a failed attempt really is just another trial that you combine with your strengths, and you find someone else to serve with whatever it is you have. And now you have another trial under your belt that was beyond your control. And it's hard. I mean, that's really hard. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants the trials. Everybody wants the strengths and talents and good things about their lives. Nobody wants the other side. Everyone just wants to serve the world with their strengths. Nobody wants to serve the world with their trials. And then sometimes people try to serve the world with just their trials, and they're not very successful either. You need both. And then when you have both of those things, your strengths and your desires combined with your trials and hardships and things beyond your control, you would just do it again. And that's hard. And that's hard. And anyone who had your question too, and they're like, oh my gosh, what would she do? Like, what would she do if her whole life burned to the ground? Like, you would just start over and you would do it again. And that would be just another trial under your belt that would make you stronger. It would make you strengths give us the know-how and the drive and the talent and the way to do it. But trials give us the reason behind it. It's like the gas in the car. And it's more trials that are beyond your control are simply more fuel for your talents to drive on so that you can keep going, not just faster, but better and longer lasting. Nobody wants trials. Nobody wants trials. But if you're one of those that can pick yourself back up and try again with everything that you have, you're only going to get better.
I can tell that I'm going to be rewatching this again. You have so many great nuggets there. Thank you so much for that. Super excited about that. I do want to ask one question that came from the mastermind group, and that is, how long did it take you before you noticed video making an impact in your business? The way that you have used video has been so remarkable, to where you invite people in your home. You're real, you're genuine, you're authentic. You don't do your hair all the time. You show people how you cook an egg, but you're just absolutely sincerely real. And by being that authentic, I'm sure it's taken off, but how long, in all of these videos, how long before you really started to notice a difference in your business?
That's a funny question for me, maybe in particular. We are right now venturing more into expanding that YouTube stuff. But really a drive for me, a motivation for me has never really been about the numbers. And I'm unique in that I don't have to feed my family. Like my husband feeds my family and he provides for us and stuff like that. And so my motivation and my reasons are a little bit different. I have never had to try to be a YouTube video person in an effort to make money on ads because my children are hungry. That has never been a drive for me at all. But what has driven me and when I did start to notice is when I got like maybe 100 views on my first one, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I can't believe that, 100 different people would go to this video and like watch it. In my very first video that I made, I tied an apron. And so I was in my little farmhouse in Marriott Slaterville, and it was just like, I just sort of felt a desire, which is important. I didn't have any skills. We didn't even have any nice equipment, And so I just had this desire, this feeling, this prompting, this reason to just kind of show some videos. So just kind of like introduce myself to the world and be like, hey, I know your life might be hard, but like, look what I can do. Maybe you can do something like this too. And another reason I wanted to make those was because when I was in the hospital, I would have really loved to have seen a woman like me, someone similar to my disability, doing things. And so I was like, well, maybe they'll come across them too. So I put the apron on and then I wrapped the strings around me and I tied it in the front. And I was like, and that's how you tie an apron. And it got so many views. And I was like, no way, no way did people care about this? And then I started getting email from occupational therapy places in Canada and South Africa. And they would request, like, oh, can you please show us, how do you tie your shoes? How do you get out of your car? How do you drive? How do you shave your legs? How do you, I don't know, how to put on deodorant, like things like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so popular in South Africa at this one little hospital. And it was all the therapists, that wanted me to show it so that they could show their patients. And now I recognize that there's many hospitals that show my videos to their patients. And that is why I do it. Because, and I recognize that people, even who can walk and use their hands, they're inspired by it because they can use their hands and they're having bad days too. It's not like you have to be in a wheelchair to have a bad day. Everybody can have a bad day. And so it makes me feel satisfied and happy to use my trial, which is being in a wheelchair with paralyzed hands, combined with my strength, which was at the time having a dinky little phone that we could post this to YouTube, and fulfill a purpose that I have. And that makes me feel really good. And that's the reason we want to fulfill our purposes, is because we're deeply invested in how we feel. We want to feel satisfied with what we do. We just don't want to just do something for someone else for the sake of doing it. We need to feel rewarded in some way. And maybe that's because we can feed our family, and good for you. If that is what, makes you feel rewarded, like that would make me feel rewarded too. But, my husband takes care of that. So I have different rewards.
That's awesome. Can I ask one other question, kind of a follow-up on that? Because like you guys have done fantastic with these very real, very vulnerable, very authentic videos. What is your support team like? Does Whit, your husband, do all the video editing, or you send it out to people? How are you actually doing this? Let our people know, because they want to use video in remarkable ways. What is it that you do?
Yeah, let's see. That's a tricky question. My support team consists of me and my husband, and that's it. And so my husband will video it. And then originally I would edit it on the computer and then just like, and I was really, it seems like when we start something, we always go overboard. We always like take care of everything, or at least that's my problem. And so that's what I did. But now we just do everything in one take. You know, there's no reason to not have it just be one take and just, okay, I'm going to show how I flip some bacon. Like, let's do it. And so I show them how to flip the bacon. And then Wit just, I mean, you can do so much from your phone now. When we started, it was like 2008 when we first got married. And, you know, we have so much more capability now just to take it on your phone. You can quick cut off the front and the back and make it nice and tight. And then just send it straight to your social media from there and your YouTube from there. And that's what we do now. And it's really quick. My daughters are getting old enough that they can video for me now sometimes. And so sometimes they'll do it too. But I discovered that if they do it, then the whole video of me flipping bacon is actually of my legs. So maybe they'll get a little older. We'll add them to the team.
That's awesome. Well, I so honor you for how you show up, how you invite people into your world, to your space, how you're just so authentic. And when people connect with you, they feel something, they feel part of you, they feel your spirit. I so love how you've done that. And thank you so much for coming on our show today and sharing the things that you've done in accomplishing your big purpose. Now, if you are watching this and you're going, oh my gosh, I really got to connect more with Meg, I got a couple of things here for you. First of all, you will want to go to the archives, to the library, and you can catch this today's broadcast as well as the rest of the week, Monday through Friday on that. Great things. You can also hear from other great speakers and the things that they are doing. You can find that at schoolofhumanity.tv. It's a free resource for you. We put it all there at schoolofhumanity.tv. And then one other thing that I wanted to do, let me find this real quick. I want to show you where you can get a hold of Meg Johnson. So copy. I'm just going to add this into a little chat thing. Okay, and let me highlight this. There we go. So if you go to facebook.com/Meg Johnson Speaks, I think it just says speak there. Is it speak or speaks, Meg?
It's plural, speaks, but I'm sure you'll find me if you just Google Meg Johnson in wheelchair.
Okay, and you can find her there. Anyway, thank you so much, Meg, for what you have done. Thank you for coming today, and thank you for showing other people how to use this tool that allows us to connect authentically as ourselves and make a big difference in the world, live in our purpose. So thank you very much. And with that, I'm going to roll the closing credits, which go like this. Thank you so much.
Goodbye.